All right, my friends, we've got 3 tests done so far and still a handful to go. I think that the next test that we write should verify that a campaign has a minimum contribution tied to it. This will be a test that is very similar to one that we wrote for our lottery much earlier. Remember, with the lottery, we said there was some minimum amount that you had to spend to get entered into the lottery itself. And the same thing is true of our campaign. So let's write a new test out that's going to verify that. I'll place an it block and we'll label this thing as it requires a minimum contribution. Don't forget to place the async keyword right here. And then inside of here, we can figure out how to actually write this test. We're going to use the same strategy that we had used back on our lottery. So we're going to place a try-catch block. We'll then attempt to send in a contribution of less than the minimum contribution. And then we can use the try-catch block to assert that an error did in fact occur. Now I want you to recall that when we created our campaign back up here inside of our before each statement, we said that the minimum contribution was 100 wei. So all we have to do is call the campaign's contribute function and send in less than 100 wei. And that should result in an error. All right, so let's give that a shot. Inside of our it statement, I'll first start off by placing the try-catch block, like so. Remember, we're going to place the actual function call inside of try, and then we're going to really expect that we skip over everything else inside the try and go right on down to the catch. So inside of here, we'll say await campaign.methods.contribute. Remember that when we call contribute, we don't pass in the amount of money that we want to send here. Instead, we call .send, and then inside of this object, we specify the value that we want to send along with this transaction. So I'm going to specify a value of 5, which is obviously far less than the minimum contribution of 100. I'm then going to say that this is coming from accounts at 1, like so. So whenever this line or this function right here is executed, it should instantly result in an error, and we should then be thrown over to the catch block. To make sure that that is the case, underneath our function call, I'll add in assert false. So if this line of code is ever executed, my test will automatically fail. Then inside the catch block, I can add in assert error, and that's just going to make sure that, yep, we do in fact have an error object here. All right, so let's give this a shot. Back at the terminal, I'll do npm run test. We'll wait just a second or two. And sure enough, we now have 4 tests passing. Very good. All right, so that was a pretty easy one. Let's come back in the next video and work on a slightly harder test.